In a previous chapter, we learned about version conflicts. In this chapter, we will explore how to use dependency constraints to control the version of a transitive dependency without declaring it as a direct requirement. As we saw in the previous chapter, there was a version conflict for the OK-HTTP library in the calculator application, which Gradle resolved to the higher version. We can see there are transitive dependencies that OK-HTTP brings in. This includes OKIO 3.16.2. The calculator project developer is aware of a bug in OKIO 3.16.2 and wants to ensure that a newer version with a fix is used, specifically version 3.16.3. To do this, the developer can use a constraint. In the dependencies block of the calculator build file, we can add a constraints block. In here, we can declare a constraint similar to how we declare a dependency. First, we declare the configuration, then the library and version. Now that we have added this constraint, let's see the output of the dependencies task once again. The dependencies task shows us that there was a constraint on OKIO, and that the version selected was 3.16.3, not 3.16.2. Dependency constraints allow you to define a required version for a dependency without actually adding it as a direct requirement to your build if you don't want to. This is particularly powerful because it affects both your direct dependencies and any transitive dependencies pulled in by other libraries. When declaring a constraint for a transitive dependency, you often want to have flexibility and allow for a range of versions. Dynamic versions and version ranges allow you to do this. In the docs, you can search for declaring versions and ranges and click on the first result. In addition to using a specific version, here you can see examples of using dynamic versions and version ranges. Here, we let Gradle know that we want any version of Spring Core higher than 5.3.0, including 5.3.0. Here, we let Gradle know that we want the latest release of Spring Core. Here, we let Gradle know that we want any Spring Core version between 5.2.0 and 5.3.8, including those versions. In our earlier example, the calculator project developer has checked that future versions of OKIO also include the bug fix to provide flexibility while ensuring their build remains stable. The developer can define a version range within the constraints block. In Gradle, ranges are inclusive by default when using square brackets. They declare a range of acceptable versions of OKIO on the constraint to accept 4 new versions, 3.16.3 to 3.16.6. We can run the dependencies task one more time to look at which version of OKIO Gradle picks based on these new constraints. If you are using the version catalog to manage dependencies, dynamic versions and ranges are supported there too. The format is the same. Here's an example of what it looks like. You can also refer to the version catalog documentation for more examples.